Ariel, I don't know if you want to go down this road with me, man. Do you ever ask Dana the tough question? Do you ever push back on Dana?
Wait, one second. Before you continue, with all due respect, if you're going to say that, come with facts and come with your research. BKB is back. BKB on quite a roll, especially overseas. They've got a show this weekend, October 18th, in Leeds. It's called BKB 47, Leeds Brawl 2. And the featured bout on the card involves a gentleman named Tyler Goodjohn against the legend, the Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi, in his first fight since June of 2019 when he fought the great Artem Lobov. How about this? He's kind enough to join us, Paulie Malignaggi is, right here and now. Hello, Paulie. How are you? Welcome back. Oh, I don't hear you. Are you muted?
Sorry, I was muted, Ariel.
All good. What's up, Paulie?
How you doing? I'm good, man. How's everything?
Everything's good. It's good to have you back. Congrats on you're doing so much. The YouTube channel is doing great. You're out there doing media as well. It's great stuff. Pro Box TV, but you're back fighting. Why? Why are you doing this 6 years later?
It's various reasons. Probably there's a little bit of truth in everybody's opinion. Some of it is you don't want to let it go. You want to give it one last shot. Some of it is you want to make more money. I would like to and have plans to retire back to Italy, but in order to do that, I have to probably pay down some properties and stuff in the U.S. They tell you to invest your stuff, and so you invest, and then it ends up creating roots for you in a place where maybe you want to leave. So eventually, I'd like to move back to Sicily, so I'd have to pay down some properties there. Also, BKB has been very good to me as far as commentating and giving me a lot of opportunities after the 2020 separation from Showtime. Actually, Pro Box TV and BKB have been very, very good to me. So it's a chance for me to try to kind of springboard them a little bit and sort of one hand washing the other by me fighting with them and fighting for them. Sorry, and trying to sort of reciprocate the good that they've done for me.
And so, was this your idea? Did you go to them, or did they come to you and say, "Hey, what do you think?"
It was my idea. I was sort of brainstorming various options, including glove boxing. But it seemed like this could be the most mutually beneficial, and also sort of another feather in my hat as far as an opportunity to win something major. I'm not sure I could win a major world championship in boxing anymore. I mean, granted, Pacquiao almost did beat Mario Barrios, and I thought he did, and the welterweight division is kind of weak in boxing, so I think I would take a stab at something like that only because it's such a weak division. But honestly, if I'm really honest with myself, I think that taking a stab at something great, something that's more than just money, which I think we always need a motivation that's more than just money. It ended up being bare knuckle because I think there's an opportunity to accomplish some things here. Not to overlook my opponent because I'm doing it one fight at a time, but if I could beat Goodjohn, I could get a title shot at BKB, and winning a BKB world title would be sort of a feather in my hat to add to the accolades that I've accomplished in boxing.
So to be clear, you're not back just for a one-off swan song. This is like a proper return, several fights?
I'm not planning to be back for a one-off swan song, but I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I'm also not a spring chicken. So although I do feel good, it's also a situation where, like I said, I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Before agreeing to this, did you obviously you're most well known from the Sweet Science, right? Queensberry Rules with the big gloves, the padded gloves. Did you look around and see if there were options out there? Once you decide you're going to come back, did you see what else was out there, or was it always BKB?
There's things being discussed even in glove boxing. There's possibly something discussed with Misfits that's been broadly discussed. But again, it's not, Misfits is cool. I think it will be actually a good fit, and it may still happen. I'm not for sure going to say yes or no in that direction because I could do both. But the reason I went this way for now is because, like I said, there's a chance to accomplish something here. In boxing, the accomplishment is a world championship. I know what that feels like. I've won it, but I also know that I probably can't win one at this point in my life. If I combine the finances and the accomplishing goals, I thought that bare knuckle was the way to go for now, But Misfits is being discussed as well, and it could possibly happen. I think it could be a good fit.
Who would that be against?
It wasn't really discussed. that deeply. You know,
Okay.
it's kind of a slow moving conversation.
Fair enough.
But if it happens, you know, then we'll discuss that option as well. You know, it was a slow moving conversation, and then like I said, it's I think it's a fit for somebody like me, but I also think that you know I generate more motivation to try to accomplish something like winning a championship, and with BKB I may be able to do that. You know.
And how long was this training camp for? Like, how long did you have to prepare, and how did your body feel since it's been so long since you've done one of these?
I've been probably training for about 6 months,
Oh, wow.
but I mean, I'll tell you what, I've had a, you know, there's a saying, you train smarter, not harder. I've definitely done that. I haven't been able to spar as much as I would have liked to in the past, you know, so I had to adjust that. I adjusted more so my, my, my strength training, my conditioning. You know, I needed to condition my body first for a training camp before going into a training camp, and I've done that almost the entire time. I started working with my good friends Don Jaffardino and Seb Stolter at ADEX Mace Clubs, which is sort of a different kind of strength training. Sort of the, I don't know if people have seen the Iron Sheik videos with lifting it what look like bowling pins. You
Oh,
know,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
obviously I'm not lifting heavy with those, but there's a program there that mixes both movement and weights together, you know, and so I've done a lot of that as well. Nothing heavy, but also something that conditions my body for, you know, both the movement of fighting and as well as the ability to have, you know, the strength and being able to deal with, you know, the physical sport like combat sports, you know. Also, as far as the boxing is concerned, like I said, we've not done as much sparring because, you know, back in the day, I was always a heavy believer in heavy sparring, violent sparring. I was a product of gym wars, and my career is a product of gym wars, and I think that, you know, no matter what medical experts may want to say or not say, I believe that's the way you get to the top. You know, so it was a different thing for me to not be able to do that as often, at least, because you know I used to do that every 2 days when I was in training camps in my prime, and now you do that and you're like, whoa, I'm I'm out of commission from sparring for quite longer than 2 days now, you know, to recover. So, but when I recover and when I'm sharp, I am good. So the way I look at it is, even fight night may be difficult, maybe a physical go of it, but I'm sharp and I'm good. So even if I'm very sore for a longer period of time than maybe I would have been in the past, it doesn't matter because at that point it will have ended the next day, you know, still, so I can recover. But when I'm not sort of debilitated, I do feel sharp. I do feel the timing is good. We've worked a lot of nervous system training with the strength work. So there's a lot of good reaction and speed stuff. And I think we're ready for it on Saturday night.
Like, it's fight week. You're about to fight in what, 4 days? These emotions you haven't felt in a while. Are you nervous? Are you anxious? What are you feeling 4 days out?
I feel curious more so, you know, 'cause
Okay.
I feel good right now. I'm curious to see, like, am I overconfident in myself? You know, I feel good. I feel like I said, we've done a lot of, even if we haven't done a lot of sparring, we've done a lot of nervous system training, you know, which is a lot of explosiveness and a lot of reaction stuff, you know, and that has really worked well, you know. I've got a good spring in my legs. I've got good snap in my shots, and things of that nature. You know, obviously we had to load more on pad work since we weren't sparring, mid and pad work. And again, my speed is there, my work is there. So I I don't want to be overconfident because you know you never want to do that. So there's more of a curiosity, you know, like am I really feeling this good, or am I lying to myself? You know, so it's not really so much nerves because we've done this so much that we kind of know how to control those. They're always there, but it's more so I feel good. Like, let's see if it's real on Saturday night. You know.
For those that may not know, we were just talking about BKFC before you came on. What's the difference between BKFC and BKB, and why do you like BKB better?
The biggest difference is 3 minute rounds instead of 2 minute rounds. BKB does 3 minute rounds. BKFC does 2 minute rounds. And the Trigon. The Trigon is a smaller surface. There's less room to maneuver, less room to work with. So I think it enforces more contact, and especially in the 3 minute round, there's a lot more contact, right? So I do think it's more physically demanding, more physically debilitating. It can be, but at the same time, if you know how to fight, you know how to fight anywhere. You know how to make your style work anywhere. And so I don't mind that part of it. Why BKB? Because I've worked with BKB for a long time. They've been very good to me. And I saw that my fight with BKFC 6 years ago was a big springboard for them, and I was glad to do that. They were professional guys and worked with me well, but I feel like BKB has given me a lot of opportunities in commentating and keeping my name relevant, and I thought it was only a natural marriage to do this with them.
Well, I think you're still very relevant. Like I said, the YouTube channel is great. The stuff you do with Pro Box is great from a commentary standpoint. And I just wanted to ask you about some of that stuff. Obviously, one that we've been talking a lot on this show has been the Ali Act because of, Zuffa and Dana White getting into the world of boxing. More has been said. I saw you talk about it a couple times. Now that we've had a little bit more time to digest, we know they're going on Paramount. We're hearing what Dana is saying about the promotion, the amount of events, Contender Series. Like, how do you feel about their entry into the world of boxing?
Ariel, I don't know if you want to go down this road with me, man. I got a respect for you, but as a person, but as media, I see you as sort of the rest of the guys in the media. You guys don't ask the tough questions. You guys are a bit of kind of kiss asses.
Me.
And when it comes to you guys too, I mean, Dana, do you ever ask Dana the tough question? Do you ever push back on Dana? You ever push back on Dana?
I haven't been to a UFC event. I haven't been to a UFC event.
And gives a lot of bullshit answers to people, and nobody pushes back. Like, he literally lies. He's lying. He'll answer the question for me. I'm not saying necessarily you, but just a person in the media. They know he's lying when he answers the question, and they don't say, "Dude, you're lying. Come on." Like that. It's like this. It's not like that. Instead of they'll just take the answer at his word for it, even despite knowing he's lying. They're just happy they got to ask a question to the fascinating Dana White. If a guy lies to your face, he has no respect for you. And he has no respect for the fan base, right? So the guy constantly lies. So
wait, one second. Before you continue, with all due respect, if you're going to say that, come with facts and come with your research. The last time I spoke to Dana White was 2016. The last time I did an interview with Dana White was 2016. Are you referring to an interview that I did with Dana White in 2016? You're obviously not. The last time I went to a UFC event was 2020. So, Paulie, with all due respect, don't be disrespectful. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't go to UFC events. I don't go to UFC events. I'm not the dudes you're talking about. So don't let me in with them. I understand what you're saying, and I'm critical of them. But don't let me in with the guys because you have no idea what you're talking about. I haven't been to a UFC event in 5 years.
Okay, so I won't lump you in with the Dana.
Thank you.
But the same applies to you when you ask Conor McGregor questions. He's a bullshit artist, and
I haven't talked to him in 2.5 years, but fair.
You know he was bullshitting you, and you just took the responses at face value instead of giving.
So now you're moving the goalposts. Now you're moving the goalposts. I'm not
even saying pushback. No, hold on.
I'm talking about Dana White getting into boxing. What does that have to do with Conor McGregor? Do you not have respect for me as an interviewer? Why are you here?
I'm not that guy. You're not that guy with Dana White, but you're still that guy, Eric. Well, you guys in the media are all that guy.
Why are you?
I don't play the media game. That's why I don't play the media game.
You're in the media. You're in the media.
Yeah, I'm in the media. It's a hobby for me. What
are you talking about? You're talking about making money.
I don't need to go to. Okay, it's about making money. Everything's about making money, Ariel.
What are you talking about? Everything's about making. You're the one talking.
It's not about making money. It's not everything's about making money.
You were just talking at the beginning about moving and investments and going to Italy. What are you talking about? You're the one that brought up money at the beginning of this.
No, you asked me the question what it was, okay? And I told you it's a part of it is that and a part of it is
okay,
this.
But you did bring up money.
On the money. You don't need to always harp on the money. The money was a part of it. That wasn't the only response I gave you, Ariel. Anyway,
you say that being in media is hobby. So what is your day job? Like what is not your hobby? What's your professional career then?
Paulie TV is my hobby. Pro Box TV is my day job.
Okay, that's media.
That's media, yeah. But
they're both media.
I do media at my way. Nobody tells me what to do or how to do it. That's why I don't get invited to the credential list and everything else, because I do media my way.
Okay.
People know I'm going to push back. People know I'm going to say what I'm going to say. People know they can't control me, and people know I'm going to speak up when something's wrong. So therefore, I don't get invited. So therefore, that's why I say it's a hobby. Because for me, at Pro Box TV,
you're still doing media.
Get the respect I deserve. And yes, okay, good point. But I get the respect I deserve. I don't have to be told to say this or stay away from this. I can do whatever I want.
And you're saying we do here? You're saying we do here?
Ariel, again,
what's your beef?
Saying there are certain questions that you guys don't ask certain people. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, and I can't be that guy. I am not that guy. So I don't know how we even got on this topic. You asked me a question.
I asked you a question about Dana White getting into it, and you said you want to go down this path because I offer him softballs. I haven't talked to the guy in almost 10 years. 10 years I haven't talked to him.
Let's go to Dana White conversation. Yeah, with Dana White, I stand corrected, Ariel. You actually have a pushback against Dana, but again, you have to.
I got banned from the I got my credentials revoked.
But Ariel, if you're gonna be a pushback guy, you got to be a pushback guy either way. Like for example, with me and Deontay Wilder were cool. When I said he got robbed by Tyson Fury, I didn't say, "Oh no, he's my buddy." I'm not gonna say he robbed Tyson Fury the first fight. I said it anyway. You know what? We stopped talking. Doesn't matter. I do my job. I do my job, right? If I'm going to do it,
Respect. That's why I gave you respect.
I'm going to stand. I'm going to stand the way I'm going to stand for it, whether it's convenient to me or not convenient to me, because there's a right and a wrong way to do things. Anyway, going back. Let's go back to what we were saying. With the Ali Act and whatnot.
And
Dana
Zuffa,
said
yep.
they've generated Zuffa. They generate billions of dollars. It's great for the sport. The UFC model has shown that it generates billions of dollars. Billions of dollars for who, dude? Not for the fighters. When a guy like Dana White talks about this model generates billions of dollars and so on and so forth. Let's say it did, even for boxing. Let's say if it did. Without the Ali Act, you know what it's going to be, because his resume, his body of work already tells you what it's going to be. His body of work tells you that it's going to be all for the corporate sponsors, all for the big shots, including him, and very little piece of it goes to the fighters. So when we talk about how is this thing going to benefit this or how is this thing going to benefit that, it's not like we're talking to a guy who doesn't already have a prior road, a resume that you can look back on and say, how does he behave? How does he do things? How does he behave financially? This guy robs fighters left, right, and center. You could say allegedly, right? I mean, because you could say, considering the main event purses of UFC fighters compared to what the UFC shows generate, where's all the money going? It ain't the majority of the money ain't going to the fighters like it would in boxing if a fighter generates that kind of money. But yet then this guy goes on a Joe Rogan podcast and he'll talk about how he lost $1 million in one night. Money that he's robbing from fighters. All right. So that's not a person I can respect coming into my business or any business. If he stays away from me, I stay away from him. I don't need to talk about him. But if we're going to talk about a guy like that, no, boxing doesn't need a guy like that. Boxing already has had plenty of people like that we've already dealt with. The boxing landscape, regardless of having people like that, and if people could get away with it, they would, obviously. But boxing has a landscape through the Ali Act that prevents that kind of demented, perverse taking advantage of fighters to that degree. At least boxing has that protection. By removing the Ali Act, you risk not having that protection. That's all I'm saying. And
Sure.
and there's going to be different options, different opinions. Look at Francis Ngannou. What do you have to do? What do you have to do to make him boxing? Look at Conor McGregor himself. Speaking of McGregor, he had to go to boxing to make that kind of money. So ultimately, why did those guys go to boxing? Because boxing allowed that kind of loophole, right? That the UFC, the MMA in general, does not allow, right? So in an open market, the fighter has more advantage if he reaches the top. Now, people will say, "Oh, lower level to lower level, it's similar purses." Yeah, of course. Lower level, similar purses. But I made this example not long ago. I remember looking at at the end of my career, looking at a Max Holloway versus Volkanovski fight matchup, and there was purses being discussed on a website. I looked at Max Holloway's purse. Max Holloway was still a top star at that time. I was at the end of my boxing career. Guy was making the same money I was making in boxing at that time, not at my prime, at that time. Okay. Now, granted, maybe he had a couple pay-per-view points, which gave him a little bit more money. But this is a guy who probably is going to be a UFC Hall of Famer in his prime years at the time, and he's making what I'm making at the end of my career. Okay, dude, that's not a guy anybody should be working for in combat sports. All right, bro. Like, people broach the conversation, talk to the conversation. This is not a good person. Not that boxing is full of good people either, but I'm saying this person himself is changing the landscape, not for the better in any way, especially for the fighters and for the competitors.
What do you think about the idea of having their own belt and getting rid of the WBC? He says he's not going to acknowledge those. Is that good or bad?
I have my beef with the sanctioning bodies, Ariel. I think we all do, right? I mean, they're in that way. But let me tell you something. The sanctioning bodies, because MMA fans are not that intelligent, and I've said that over and over again, and I'm going to give you an example of why they're so stupid, all right? In MMA, for example, they'll say, oh, everybody fights everybody. The UFC makes all these fights. But in MMA, you actually do have several belts. You have a Bellator belt, you have a PFL belt.
Bellator are no longer around, but I get your point. Bellator no longer around.
We have one. I'm a casual, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I just don't want anyone to hit you back saying you're a casual, so I'm correcting you here.
No, but it's okay. They can say I'm a casual because I am a casual with MMA. I do watch the occasional MMA fight, but I'm not a hardcore. But okay, so it's ONE FC, it's PFL, UFC, right? Those are the main promotions essentially, right? So you do have several belts. They can't cross each other ever. So the leagues that they create, they can never cross each other. So just because they can never cross each other doesn't mean you're getting all the fights. Because personally, if a fan had any level of intelligence past the point of being retarded, they would say, wow, I want to watch the fighter who's the champion at ONE against the champion who's in the same weight class at the UFC, or the champion in the same weight class at PFL. I want to see what that looks like, just like we do in boxing. Okay, so then when they tell you in boxing, oh, this champion can make this champion, they make too many champions, and then they don't fight. Yes, there is politics involved, and when sometimes one champion is with one promoter and another champion is with another promoter, fights we want to see don't happen, and that sucks. I get it, but you know what? In special occasions, they do cross promote because the fight is good enough, and they'll say, you know what? Let's just make it happen. In MMA, you don't even have that hope. Okay, the line is so drawn in the sand, you can't have that hope. The UFC champion will never fight the PFL champion. The PFL champion will never fight the one champion, and so on and so forth in the same weight class. Those are fights you should be asking for and should be seeing. Now, just the fan base is so stupid doesn't mean that that's not the same conversation.
It's not the fan, Paulie. You're disrespecting the fan base. It's not the fan. It's
no, it's not.
We could cry until the cows come home about seeing the
Ariel,
PFL champion who 1% of the public knows.
The comment, Ariel, and you're right, but the
no one wants to see that. No one's asking for this.
They don't mention it.
No one's asking for this. Yes, we have been.
They don't ask for it because they're too stupid to know it's possible.
No, you're wrong about that. You're wrong about that. What do you mean too stupid? What does too stupid mean?
That's not want to see the PFL champion or the one champion.
It's not about wanting. It's not about wanting.
You want to see who the best in the world is.
I want to fly. It's not happening.
In boxing, we want to see that.
It's not happening because of the structure. Because of the structure of the sport. It's like.
And you're going to tell me that, okay, so you're answering your own questions.
Yes.
That structure of the sport, you want to bring that into boxing.
I don't want to bring anything, man. I'm just asking you questions. I don't want to bring anything. What are you talking about?
All right,
I don't work for these guys. I think you got me confused with someone else. I'm actually not really that cool with them, to be honest.
Okay, so that's fine. That's fair play. That's my beef. That's my beef.
I think you think that I'm some sort of like face of MMA. I'm just a dude asking questions here, all right? That's it.
Either way.
And I'm asking a lifer, I'm asking a boxing savant what he thinks of this. Because I've heard some people be like, you know what? I'm tired of the alphabet soup belts. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of that. You know what? Bring these guys in. I've heard people say it. Look, Terrence Crawford seemed pretty happy.
Who have you heard? The $2 shoemaker promoter tell you who he gets no opportunity?
No. Fighters.
Anyway?
Terrence Crawford seemed very happy being up there with Dana White, right? He seemed very happy.
He's being used as a pawn up there. Guys like Canelo, because now you're using these big money guys. You're going to pay them the same money. Of course, you're going to pay them, but you're bringing in a new regime where you won't pay them the same way anymore. See, this is the way they're doing it if you really look at it. And if I'm interpreting it correctly, they're paying the fighters from the old regime high money to make it interesting, right? But then as those guys are going to eventually age out, you're signing new guys out of the amateurs. And those new guys you sign out of the amateurs are going to be constricted to those new contracts where the ceiling is not high, and they're not grandfathered into the old regime of pay scale. So while the guys who are grandfathered in eventually age out, the new guys get put on this new pay scale, and little by little, what you create is an entirely new pay scale, which will be similar to the.
How do you feel about Turkey getting involved in the big money that's going to these big stars, these fights being made?
I think Turkey has done a lot of good things as far as making good matchups. I think he's done very good matchups. I think we've seen matchups in boxing thanks to Turkey that we probably would not have seen. So in that regard, I can't say anything bad about the guy. I think he's done well, and I think the fights have been entertaining. The fighters have been paid well, and so on and so forth. My problem is you're working with Dana. Why are you working with Dana? What's the issue with Dana, who does the opposite of what you're doing? You're planning to make big fights for big money, and make pay the fighters they're just worth, and also make the big fights. Dana's trying to create a whole new league, starting from scratch, little by little, and which I don't think is going to work unless you completely eliminate the competition. That's another thing, Ariel, that could be another conversation we could probably talk an hour about. In MMA, it was such a new sport. He had Fertitta money to buy out all the competition, and so therefore there was no other competition. In boxing, unless you plan to buy out the Matchrooms of the world and the Top Ranks of the world, well, Top Rank actually doesn't have a TV deal, so that's an
Queensberry,
the Matchroom,
Golden Boy,
they're gonna be remaining on the old pay scale. So fighters are gonna be, top level fighters are gonna be making more money than the top level fighters under the Zuffa banner, right? Because if the Zuffa banner has this ceiling, you're gonna also be ruining their records because they're gonna also be fighting each other, just like in the UFC. Because that's one thing I do say about the UFC: you have journeyman records on fighters that are not journeymen. Why? Because they all fight each other inside that league, right? So by boxing standards, that record is journeyman, but in reality, those are world-class fighters.
Sure.
So, but what you're doing, you don't have, you actually, that's the standard in that sport, so it's okay. In boxing, what you're doing is, unless you eliminate all the competition, you're going to have fighters with the other promoters getting to top level with 30-0 records. And now you're going to have top level fighters with Zuffa having 17-5 records. And now when you want to make those interceding fights for make a super fight, okay, we'll take it to Turkey now, we'll make a big fight. You're not going to get the interest of a 30-0 guy fighting a 17-5 guy. You're not going to get that same interest anymore.
In fairness to Turkey, though, he's still working with Matchroom. He's not just with Dana, though. In fairness to him, he's still, he's doing Eubank Ben.
Yeah, he's still, yes, he is. But what I'm saying is, that's what I'm saying, that in Matchroom, you're going to still have these guys getting to 25, 30, prospects being built to contenders, being built to champions, like the old boxing model. And in the Zuffa model, it's everybody fights everybody. It's a free-for-all. Granted, it's fun to watch. I get it. Solid matchups from the top down. But you know what? Even the really good fighters are taking losses. So now when you get to the top level, top pay scale, like I said, you got a guy with a 20-5 record, and you want to match him with the Matchroom champion who's a 30-0 fighter. That's going to be hard to sell to boxing fans. That's going to be, even if in reality, I would agree that that's an even fight, right? But because it will be world class to world class. And I could see that even the 25 guy might be world class. But to the regular boxing fan, that's a hard sell. Now you're not going to sell the same way anymore. These things are built a certain way. So again, these are a lot of questions that have to be brought to the table. I don't know.
It's good stuff. It's good that we're talking. Now, what's the issue with Conor? What's the issue with? I know the old issue, but like that was 9 years ago. So what's the issue now?
The issue, bro. You don't see this guy still post stories about me, bro. What are you guys out of your mind?
Still?
Well, up until like less than 6 months ago, he was still posting stories about
what?
Guy,
what's the
random shit? He was. The last story he posted was me commentating on a BKB show with Mike Goldberg.
Yeah.
And I think it was in the last 6 to 7 months. Okay, it wasn't. And then what else? I mean, he just randomly posts stories about me still. Like the ass whipping he called. That's what I'm telling you guys. Well, you guys never push back on the ass whipping he got, bro. The ass whipping from an out of shape Paulie Malignaggi, no less. That's why. And you could see that the personal thing, because yes, like you said, Ariel, it's been 9 years ago. Like it could be over, right? It could be over. It should be over. But then if I respond, he's got a legion of groupies who like, oh, you can't let it go. What do you mean if I can't let it go? This guy's still obsessing over me. You know what I mean? So
is that the dream? Is that the fight? I mean, I feel like it could happen.
No. Here's the thing. With Conor, there's a stipulation there, and I've said it before. It has to be winner takes all. And I know winner takes all is not allowed on any commission, so it would be a winner takes all, and the loser gets like a $50,000 grant or something like that. You know what I mean? Just so it wouldn't be
Why? Why does that have to be it?
Because he convinced everybody of something that is completely fabricated and false. And the difference between us is like night and day. So it wouldn't just be a supreme ass whipping he would catch. Weight difference and all, honestly. At this point, it wouldn't even matter the weight. I would still beat the shit out of the guy. But it would have to be not only that ass whipping, but also the fact that he would have to take that short money, winner takes all, essentially. And that would never happen because he's never going to agree to that because he knows what really happened between us that day in the gym. Okay, so that's not going to happen anyway. But if we talk about the dream and all this other stuff, gladly, I would love to beat the shit out of the guy because for me, it's like it's on a personal level. It's on.
Have you ever presented that to him? Like, have you ever tried at least to present that? I know you've kind of said it.
I've said it in interviews. No, I've said it in interviews.
But like, has there been any talks between representatives, managers, things like that?
No, not to that degree. No, not to that degree. But I've said it. They know that that's what I would have offered was a winner takes all.
What about an Artem rematch?
The Artem rematch? I don't know. I mean, is there interest for that? I mean, I guess there's.
He came back. He came back, and then he got hurt. But there was a lot of excitement when he came back.
The thing about that fight is, okay, I broke my hand in the fight, right? I broke my hand in the fight, and yes, it's closer than it should have been because I broke my hand in the fight. But this again, it goes back to the MMA fans. Like the only boxing site that covered it had me winning, and people are gonna say, "Oh, it's not boxing; it's bare knuckle." Buddy, in any combat sport, whoever lands more punches wins the fight. I don't care what combat sport we're talking about. Whoever lands more shots wins the fight. Okay, so in that fight. You say, oh, it's not boxing. But then why was he boxing me? Why, if it was not boxing, why was he boxing me? Because he had no choice, dude. I was boxing and I was controlling the pace and I was controlling the fight, even with one hand. That's how in control of the fight I was, even with one hand. The fact that I didn't get a decision and the fact that the MMA media and nobody latched onto the fact that I got robbed showed me just how stupid the entire base is over there, bro. Because in boxing, it would have been
this was bare knuckle. Why not the bare knuckle media? Why is it the MMA media?
Because
it wasn't an MMA fight.
Ariel. Yeah, the MMA media is the bare knuckle media, dude. They cross promote each other. I wish boxing would cover more.
They don't.
I really do. I wish. I should give you credit for covering all of it. But they don't. Boxing doesn't. So only one website covered it, and they had me winning. But like I said, when people gave me it's not boxing, it's bare knuckle. Buddy, any combat sport, more strikes wins. I don't know what we're talking about here. I don't know if it's not really that complicated. More strikes wins, But more so than that, like I said, the ring generalship of the fight was a boxing match. That was on me, bro. That wasn't Artem. Artem wasn't trying to keep it a boxing match. That was on me. I kept it a boxing match. So the fight was easy to score. Just because you had three morons judging it doesn't mean that the rest of the fan base know how to get in there and also become moronic and not understand who really won the fight. So is there an interest in the rematch? I guess there could be. I mean, I don't know. Listen, I give Artem credit. He hung tough. He took the fight. He doesn't know I'm going to break my hand. If I don't break my hand, I probably stop him. But you know what? Give him credit. He took it. He hung tough, and he got the decision in the end. But I don't know. Ariel, you tell me. Would there be interest in that fight? I don't know.
I think there's interest. I think people like Artem. I think people like the history between you guys.
I like the guy too, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
I think
he's
we
the GOAT.
sparked it pretty well, and afterwards, he wasn't going around saying anything like that before. I
he's
said,
a good
bro,
guy.
we're cool. Just stop lying, bro. You know what I mean? Like, don't lie on behalf of Conor. Conor's a fucking liar. Just don't lie on behalf of the guy. And honestly, it stopped. So
all right.
there's not even a personal beef there. So I don't know. I mean, if there's interest, if Artem wants to do it, I guess it could be discussed. But right now, I can only take into account Tyler Goodjohn on Saturday night because that's really what's in front of me, guys.
BKB 45. No, actually, it's 47. Leeds Brawl 2. Tyler Goodjohn versus Paulie Malignaggi. Great to have you on, Paulie. I actually have Dana standing by for my first interview with him in 10 years. So I'm going to ask him all the softball questions, kiss his butt. It's going to be great. I hope we're good, man. I got respect for you.
Yeah,
and,
all right, we're good, man.
All right,
we're
got
good. Even if listen, I'm the kind of person even if I disagree, I'm good.
All right,
with somebody. I can disagree with friends. I can disagree with enemies. Like I'm not the kind of person where if I disagree with you now, I don't talk to you. I'm not that guy. I know.
I appreciate it. No, it's all good. I like the energy. I like the fire. It makes me want to see the fight even more. And I wish you the best. And hopefully we can continue some of these conversations because I did really enjoy it.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, Paulie. All the best to you. Take care. There he is, Paulie Malignaggi. A very Italian show today. We went from Mikey Musumeci to Paulie Malignaggi. He came out swinging there. What do you think? Was that an old school? 10-8, 10-7 Helwani? I mean, the facts were a little comme ci, comme ça. I think he was confusing me with someone else, honestly, because the last interview that I did with Dana White was February of 2016 in London. Before Michael Bisping versus Anderson Silva, for goodness sakes. All right? My daughter wasn't even born yet, and she's about to turn 9. So what are we talking about? Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.